Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today, April Windsor's journey has been one of the darkest, most shocking turns Emmerdale has delivered in years, and tonight, viewers finally learn the truth about her fate as her harrowing prison arc reaches its explosive conclusion. What began with a moment of desperation has spiraled into a chain of revelations, alliances, betrayals, and heartbreak that will change the village forever. The final hours before the verdict. The episode opens with a haunting stillness inside the young offenders institution, where April has spent the past weeks fighting for survival. Gone is the bright, hopeful girl the village watched grow up. In her place is someone hardened by fear, guilt, and the overwhelming weight of her own choices. Emmerdale fans have watched her struggle with the crushing guilt of getting tangled up with Celia's criminal empire, a truth she revealed in a twist that sent shockwaves through the Dales. As the final hearing approaches, April sits quietly in the cold, grey interview room. Her solicitor tries to reassure her, but even she senses that the outcome could fall either way. April wrings her hands, her voice trembling as she asks the question no teenager should ever have to ask. Do you really think they'll let me go home? The silence speaks louder than words. Marlon's fight for his daughter. Meanwhile, outside the institution, Marlon is a wreck. For days, he's barely eaten, barely slept, clinging to hope while fearing the worst. The guilt of failing to protect his daughter gnaws at him, and tonight, he breaks down to Rona, confessing that he blames himself for not realizing how deeply April had been drawn into Celia's trafficking network. Rona, heartbroken but strong for him, reminds him that April didn't choose this life. She was manipulated. Used. Terrified. But Marlon can't shake the fear that the system won't care. His voice cracks as he whispers. If they take her away for good, Rona, I don't know how I'll survive it. A village in shock as the truth spreads. Word of April's final hearing spreads through Emmerdale like wildfire. Charity, still shaken from her own traumatic past, takes the news especially hard. She reaches out to Marlon, offering support in one of the most emotional scenes of the episode. Chaz, meanwhile, blames herself for not noticing April's distress sooner. Even Carrie, who rarely admits fault, is seen quietly crying behind the bar of the Woolpack after hearing how deeply Celia's network ensnared the teenager. But the most surprising moment comes from Kane Dingle. Kane, a man not known for soft emotions, walks up to Marlon, places a steady hand on his shoulder, and says, "We'll get her home. Whatever it takes." Inside the courtroom, April faces her fate. The courtroom is tense, heavy with the kind of silence that fills every viewer's chest with dread. April enters, her head bowed, flanked by officers. Marlon's eyes fill instantly, he hasn't held her in weeks. He mouths "I love you," and for a fleeting second, she smiles, a tiny, broken smile that captures the entire tragedy of her ordeal. The prosecution paints April as a knowing accomplice to Celia's trafficking operations. They argue she had chances to walk away. That she made choices she must now face the consequences for. But then her solicitor rises and delivers the defense viewers have been waiting for. She reveals everything April endured, the coercion, the threats, the manipulation, the terrifying isolation. She explains that April's confession was not an admission of guilt but an act of desperation to escape the criminal web surrounding her. And then comes the bombshell. April's testimony was the key evidence that allowed police to finally dismantle Celia's entire empire. Gasps erupt around the courtroom. Marlon grips Rona's hand so tightly she winces. The judge speaks, and Emmerdale breathes. Finally, the judge begins delivering the verdict. Every second feels like an hour. Her voice is calm, measured, but the room hangs on every syllable as she explains that while April was involved, she was clearly manipulated and exploited. Her cooperation with authorities was invaluable. And then it happens. Therefore, April Windsor will not receive a custodial sentence. She is released effective immediately, under a supervised rehabilitation order. Marlon collapses in relief. Rona cries openly. Even Kane seems to wipe away tears. April herself stands frozen, unable to process that her nightmare is finally ending. An officer gently touches her arm. "You're free to go, April." The emotional reunion. In a scene guaranteed to leave fans in tears, April steps outside the courthouse and runs straight into Marlon's arms. He clutches her so tightly it looks like he'll never let go again. "I'm so sorry," she sobs. "You're home," he whispers. "That's all that matters." The camera pulls back, capturing father and daughter wrapped in an embrace that feels like the emotional heartbeat of the entire episode.